killed it. Jack, this is in the recording.
It is?
Yup. Get out of the shot. My brother. How does one do glamour shots by themselves? How in the lighting changed?
Cut.
It's bad. This is bad. That is not a glamour shot. I look ridiculous. Like, I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? What do you want from me?
Sheesh. It's the ring. It just goes across the screen.
Camera rolling. Not doing audio because I'm not dealing with that. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, this is...
Good job.
Take 10. Hello. So, we're doing this. This is gonna be kind of like a Q&A. This is basically the questions that no one asks about Caprice because I have the comments off. And the comments are gonna stay off. But if you have any questions that you want to ask and see answered, go to my dad's Facebook page. I'll have that in the description. And you can ask him whatever. I don't know how Facebook... I literally don't have social media, so I don't know how it works. You can ask him questions on there. I'm sure you know how to do it. So, now, to finally get on with this, to get on with the intro, which I'm sure has already been over a minute long, today we're going to be doing kind of Q&A, a bunch of questions and fun facts and things about Caprice because recently I got Caprice accepted into the Salem Horrorfest Film Festival and I'm very, very, very excited. And this is the first film festival that I'm going to be in and that Caprice is going to be in, as far as I know. I'm still waiting on a couple others for answers if it got in or not. Not sure if it will. This is a horror festival, so this is probably the one I'm the most glad it got into. Without further ado, we're gonna talk about like 5 fun fact kind of things and then we'll move on to 5 different, more direct questions. This is my brother, Jack. Oh, hello. So this is Jack. I'm Renee. Hello. I'm the name that you see about 5 million different times in the credits. I wrote, produced, directed, starred in, edited, added the scoring in for, did camera work. She overachieved it. Be quiet. I did about 50 million different things on Caprice.
And I had 2 lines. Alright, so in Salem, the car shoot. What was your first day like?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Alright. The first day of actual production, when we started like actually filming and shooting and everything, it was crazy. It was crazy to say the least. The first day we shot in Salem, ironically, where the festival is being held. Yes! We shot in Salem, and first of all, we had only been there a handful of times.
Yeah.
Do the touristy stuff. But this was my first time going, driving myself down there, which was an absolute traffic nightmare. And when I did get there, it was an issue of finding parking, of finding out how to pay the parking meters. When I got there, I was the first one there, and everyone was stuck in traffic. We had to kind of filter in one at a time. Once we all did get there, which we started before everyone got there, we took so long doing the first scene, which, by the way, the first scene we shot was the scene where Rose and Cole pass each other. So when Rose is driving into the parking lot and Cole is walking by and he spots her in the car, that was the first scene we shot. And it was like a nightmare trying to get that thing shot. I think it took at least 4 hours or maybe 5 to shoot the one scene.
It was worth it though, because it set up the whole like
oh my
movie.
Gosh.
It was a good scene. I liked that scene.
Thank you. It ended up turning out much better than we initially thought. Me and Kira, when we were looking at the footage, we were both very alarmed. The audio quality was awful. Awful. It was so hot that day. I think it was like 90-something degrees. I was wearing a turtleneck t-shirt with long pants. Everyone else was frying too, so we had the car AC blasting while the boom mic was inside the car, so that was picking up engine noises, AC noises, everything. It was so bad. I had no idea if this was gonna end up working or not. I felt so discouraged and anxious out of my mind. I remember specifically like talking with Kira at the end of the night. We were both on our way to our cars and she asked me, she's like, how you doing? And I literally I felt like my nerves were shot. Like, it was ridiculous because everything was just already giving us so much trouble. That coupled with the next 1 or 2 filming days after that, I actually, here's the fun fact, I almost completely shut the production down and quit. At home, I'm sending the whole production team messages. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I really hate to do this. I can't believe I'm doing this. It's too much. It's not working. I don't think it's gonna work. I think within 1 or 2 hours, I sent out another message. After I had this realization, I was like, what have I done? Oh my gosh, what have I done? I was filled with this whole new, I know I can do this. And I sent out a message to everyone. I was like, no, we're gonna do this and we're gonna, like, it's gonna be amazing. And like, I'm filled with this new drive. We're gonna push. We're really gonna do this. I know we can. And thank God, because we ended up doing it and now we're entered into a film festival. Who knew?
The film festival, it fills you with determination.
The film festival, it fills me with determination.
So, this one's an interesting one.
This is one of my favorites.
About the tree falling and the highway police. That's all that's written here, but she'll explain more.
Okay, so this is, I think, gonna be my favorite thing to talk about. In the credits, if you read all of my ridiculous credits near the end, there's one that says about highway patrolmen. We were filming the final scenes. Like, the final scenes of the film, so the scene where, spoilers are ahead, during and after when Rose kills Cole with the gas from the car, we were filming those scenes when a tree fell and blocked us in to the area we were shooting at. We were using Kristen, who plays Julia, we were using Kristen's car. That's Cole's car, by the way. And we got blocked in, so we couldn't leave. And we had Sam, who did some of the cinematography work, on the phone with them, and we were like, you know what? We have all this time, we're trapped in here, we've got to get this done, so we just kept filming. Finally, I think we had like just finished. The highway patrolman came, it was pitch black out already. We saw, like, you know, like with the tow truck, like the yellow flashing lights going around, so it was lighting up the entire woods. And they brought chainsaws. They literally, I was like, we're in Jason's woods. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, it was
What did it
insane.
sound like when...
Yeah, that's actually how we got tipped off. That's how we got tipped off that the tree was falling, but we thought someone was in the woods, like, messing with us.
Oh.
So we were on our lunch break, or like dinner break, or I think it was like our dinner break. And we were just finishing up and we were walking back to where we were going to start filming again.
Yeah.
And we heard these noises, like, some of us were like joking around and like throwing things into the woods. Like, we picked up like rocks and sticks and we just started like throwing it into the woods.
We hit a bear.
We hit a bear. And all of a sudden we started hearing these noises, almost like someone was throwing things back. And we were like getting freaked out because we didn't see anybody. And we were kind of like looking into the woods. We were like, this is kind of scary. Like, who the heck is like in the woods messing with us right now? And it was this like crack. It was like not crack, because like at the moment we didn't think it was cracking. We thought someone was throwing sticks against trees or rocks, like little pebbles or something, like against trees. Like, we thought it was someone doing it back. That's what it sounded like. It didn't sound like a tree was about to come down.
Yeah.
And so we, you know, started shooting again, and all of a sudden it was like louder, and it really sounded like you'll hear it in the footage when I release it, but it's like a and then it just like fell and hit the ground. So
someone had a really good arm and hit a tree with a rock and it just falls over.
I got it! I got it! What? Yeah. Where's that guy with the key? Holy
Tree falls in the forest. People will be around.
we heard it.
We all heard.
So I think this is the most important question. It's about what you guys are like in real life, like outside of the movie.
Yes, okay, this is actually a really interesting one. If it's not already obvious, I am nothing like Rose. Nothing. I got severely annoyed with her character on several occasions because it was frustrating to play a character that is so inward about her like thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
She's so inward. Oh my gosh. It was so hard to make myself play a character that was so opposite of like who I am in real life, because I love, like, my favorite thing in the entire world is playing loud, obnoxious, over the top, really, really super hyper expressive characters.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, acting is a form of self-expression, and that's how I love to express myself. I'm very loud.
I think even more than that, like even more than Renee's character, I think like the contrast between the actor Noah and the character Cole.
Oh my gosh.
The contrast in their personalities is crazy.
It's insane. He is literally like one of the sweetest, nicest human beings that you will ever meet. He's just always so willing to just always like does everything to try to help people, and he's such a positive energy. He's just such a wonderful, kind person to be around. It's so mind-blowing every single time I watch the film back. And every time when I was editing, oh my gosh, it was like chilling. Cole is this, you know, malicious, hateful, messed up kind of person, and it was incredible. I remember when I was first casting for the role of Cole, he had sent me the short film that he had acted in, and I didn't really know like what kind of role he was gonna play, and it was a kind of thing where it seemed like maybe it was gonna be a really innocent kind of thing. He played this like abusive, horrifying like husband. I literally felt afraid. Noah, I was literally afraid. I was like, oh my gosh. It was horrifying.
But that's not him, that's just his acting.
But it struck me so much that I was like, this, he is playing Cole. This. Like, I knew immediately. I was like, oh my gosh, he is going to slaughter this role. I knew it immediately, and he most certainly did. Wow. As far as Annie goes, the character Annie, so I feel that, so Kira herself described it perfectly, what I kind of did with the character. I took one chunk of her personality, like just one little piece of her personality, and I kind of blew it up into one character. Kira is quite the wild child, and she's full of life and energy all the time. She is such a fun person to be around. The other parts of her personality are very emotionally connected, and we can easily have talks about life, you know, like what people do at 2 in the morning at sleepovers, but like very often.
I'm sure a lot of people are wondering who's seen the movie, where the idea for the story came from. So, can you give us an idea?
Yeah, okay. So, I knew very, very soon on that I wanted to do something about some kind of like obscure mental illness that, because I love like exploring different things and learning about them through creating stories about them, because like the amount of research that you have to do to write any story is absolutely insane. I knew I wanted to do something overlooked by most people, like that people don't really know about. Very, very quickly thought of, ironically, again having to do with Salem, the idea of the mental disease vampirism, where you are absolutely convinced that in order to stay alive, you need to drink other people's, like, human beings' blood. And this is a real thing, people. And the first time that we both heard about it was when we did a night tour in Salem. The gist of the story is there was an old married couple living in Tewksbury, Mass.
So, yeah, the husband had killed his spouse, I think like chopped her up into pieces or something and like was eating parts of it. It was mostly for her blood, but he was also eating like the skin too a little bit. He was like picking at her every day, like he would take a little bit like more. Yeah. And his grandkids came over one day and found her body. Like I forget where it was. It was somewhere in the house that they found her body.
And he made the statement that he had always wanted to drink her blood. That story, although I'm bad at remembering details, he has a photographic memory. Like, whether it be words or pictures, he has a photographic memory. He remembers everything. I forget
almost everything.
Yeah, I like forget everything. But that story has never, like the gist of it has never left my mind because it genuinely terrified me and still does. That's really, really scary. I can't imagine being like with somebody for
like 50 years.
50 years, and then they kill me because they were with me because they always wanted to drink my blood. That scared me so badly. So I wanted to make a story about vampirism.
That says drink more blood.
I always buy a piece of clothing when I finish a story that has to do with the story as like a congratulations me, I finished. And this is like a momentum. It's like this is my Caprice shirt because it's, drink more blood. But yeah, so I immediately knew that I wanted to do it about vampirism. And the serial killer aspect of it came in very soon after because I had kind of like a scary experience at one point in my life where there was somebody that kept like saying things and acting certain ways that really actually started to make me really paranoid and freaked me out. And kind of like I would always like think back and be like, wow, that person reminds me of a serial killer, like someone who's gonna become a serial killer one day. So that wasn't the initial coming up with the serial killer idea. That actually came to me during a random class when I was just trying to go through ideas and I started imagining different scenarios. But having had that experience where I felt that kind of paranoid and afraid, I took that feeling that I was feeling, the paranoia and the fear and the thoughts about like, wow, this person seems kind of, what in the world's going on? And I took that and I gave those feelings to the character Julia. And Rose, like, but not to the extent of they were like, oh, it's a serial killer. But, those, like, scary, like, in-the-moment experiences of, like, this person that I am sitting with alone right now is making me feel really unsafe.
Yeah.
So that was something that also genuinely scared me in real life that I wanted to make into this story. So there you have it. And I wanted some kind of, I did not want to do one or the other. I wanted both. And I was like, what if serial killer meets vampire, who would win? But not in the, like, Jason versus Freddy kind of way.
Yeah, but that is pretty cool, though, thinking about it like that. We should make a new movie, like, Cole versus Jason or something.
Cole versus Jason, see who wins.
Something I myself was wondering, that we put in these questions. I was wondering how you did the special effects cuts, because I would think I was thinking before, like prosthetics, like when you cut Cole's throat.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing you had something a little bit different.
Right. Yeah. So I actually did cut his throat. Kind of. Noah can testify to this. He's still alive, so he's good. He's fine. I didn't actually like slit it by accident or anything. Nothing like that happened. But so what I did for all of the false cuts is I did take. It's a real razor blade. It is a real razor that we had sitting around the cabinets. So I used our real razor, and what I did is I took not the sharp end. I took the blunt end of the razor, so it was like rounded, and I held it by the sharp end. Kids, don't try this at home. I held it by the sharp end, and I put fake blood on the round end so that when, for instance, like if I was doing my wrist, I would put it against the wrist, and as I slit, it would make a blood line on my wrist. So I was basically like painting on the prosthetics, like.
So no Noahs or Renees were hurt in the making of this process.
Yes, see, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Those were fake. It's good. With Noah, it was a little more complicated though. We had, I think, 3 of us or 4 of us at once working on this at the same time. So Noah was laying down, and every single time I would like walk through it with him, I'd be like, all right, Noah, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and this is what I'm doing, so you know exactly what I'm doing to you. So I took the razor, the round end of the razor, and I was on one side of him, which you see in one of the shots. I was on one side of him. Kristen was on the other side of him with a cup full of fake blood, and Kira was working the camera, and she had it just so you couldn't see Kristen's hand. And when I slit Noah's neck with the soft end of the razor, Kristen poured very strategically, and we got very lucky that it went in exactly the pattern it did, because that was a 1 take. We could not do more takes of that. So she poured it so it looked like the blood was gushing from his neck, but it was just pouring down the side, and it looked like amazing between like her perfect pouring and Kira's perfect camera angle. It ended up working out so well. They're just really simple things like creative problem solving. That was, I think, one of the most fun things that like one of my favorite things.
It's always fun to do the special effects.
Yeah,
Like,
I loved like creating the special effects and being drenched in the blood. It was, I'm a wicked priss, so I never want anything to cover me or touch me or get me dirty in any way, and having the blood covering my body several times throughout this film was actually amazing, and it came out of all the clothes, which was awesome. All right,
so yeah, another one of my questions. It's very interesting. What's it like being a zero-budget indie filmmaker?
Oh my gosh, I would say ridiculously hard, near impossible. You gotta get lucky. You gotta know how to juggle 20 jobs at once. It's really hard. You need to have a really passionate and devoted team of people that like really care about the craft of filmmaking, and they really care about what they're doing. They really care about the final product. If people don't show up, if they expect to get paid even though you have no money, if they bail out on you, it's just, it doesn't work. And that happened several times. Like, not people expecting to get paid. That was not a thing. I fully said no one's getting paid. No one had a problem with that. Thank you guys. I was very lucky, because you know I just graduated. We were students. We have no money. Are you kidding? All our money's going to the government right now. Yay!
YouTube shuts down this video.
YouTube canceled, demonetized.
Yeah.
No, we're literally not making any money from this at all. But you have to know too. You're not paying people, so people are gonna bail. They're just not gonna show up. There will be production delays, and there will be awful weather. Because we're zero budget, we have no budget to rent out spaces at all. Nothing, nada, zip, zero, zelch. So we have to work outside, and I was really happy about that, because that was something that if you're zero budget, and if you always thought you were an indoor person like your whole life, like me, I learned that I love being outside. And it was really amazing to work outside and to have people passing you as you're filming murder scenes. And for them to kind of like look around, the interactions you have, like, most people don't say anything. You see someone strangling someone, you don't say anything? What is wrong with you people? Ask! You're not innocent bystanders. You're guilty bystanders if you're walking by a murder. What in the world?
The people walking dogs, right?
Oh my gosh! They No
They
words.
just walked their dogs right past a murder scene.
And they loved having their dogs enter the shot mid-filming so that they could jump on us while we were filming. That was very stressful for me, but I know a lot of people on set really enjoyed that. Basically, you need to know that, like, people will be unreliable. You're not paying them. They're not gonna show up. You might only have 2 of you or 3 of you on set at a time. It's gonna be ridiculously hard. You're not gonna get perfect audio, especially if you're working outside. It's just not gonna happen. It's gonna be messy. You're going to have to creative problem solve around maybe if you have a lack of footage, or if you have bad audio, if you don't have time for reshoots, if now it's all the trees are barren and you were filming in the summer. You really can't do reshoots sometimes.
One hard thing too that you mentioned is working on so many roles at once. Can you like clarify on that? Like tell the audience how hard it is to take on like 20 different roles, like you know, filming and like acting and other things like that.
Yeah, so I oh my gosh, I was behind the camera, I was in front of the camera, I was working audio when I needed to. Oh my good gracious, it's like your head just doesn't work anymore. You just don't function anymore. So to have about 5 million rolls at once is like running around like a chicken with its head cut off. It is absolute insanity all the time. That's all that you can even think about, especially when you're doing things like you're trying, like because I did the producer role, I had to constantly be thinking about, okay, what's the weather gonna be like this week? And oh, by the way, if you hear any buzzing, that's a lawnmower outside. But I was always thinking, like, you know, what's the weather gonna be like? What days can everyone make it at the same time? What days could we potentially film what scenes? What makes sense location-wise? Like, you have all of these planning thoughts in your head. You have to construct all of those thoughts into some kind of coherent message that you send out to the whole team. As director, you have to be able to, oh my gosh, it was just 5 million things at once because I was doing 5 million things at once. On set, I felt like half the time I would literally feel like my brain wasn't working at all because I had so many thoughts going through it at once that I couldn't even keep track anymore.
Saying that though, what kept you driven while you had those thoughts?
A lot of music. I feel like what helped me in the immediate was if I felt overwhelmed, like literally just like music would help to keep me motivated and driven and looking at the end product, which it was just, oh my gosh. Otherwise, what kept me driven, I think, was just, I really, really am very passionate about this, and I have always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to be able to write my own story and act in it and direct it and like do I've literally always wanted to do the whole 20 roles at once thing, which be careful what you wish for. But I don't regret it. It was just insanity, like, while it was going on. But yeah, I think what kept me driven is just I've always wanted to do this. And also, if I did not do this, I was very nervous about my own future, but also just I don't know how to do it if I did. Like, I had to do this. It was just one of those things, like, I absolutely had to do it.
Alright, well, I think we haven't acknowledged the elephant in the room though yet. What was it like working through a pandemic?
Oh gosh.
Because I'm sure everybody's wondering that. It came out in like 2020, right?
No, it was like, yeah, that's when we filmed. And then the actual release date was like back in February of 2021. Fun fact about that, I kind of really, really wanted it to come out in February because February is my birthday month. So it like meant more to me coming out in that month. So yeah, we ended up filming in the height of the pandemic, like when it first started. We started filming mid-July, I think was our first filming day, which is actually a month later than I wanted to start filming. So that was very stressful in itself. Actually, a month and a half later, it was very stressful. We had to do so many different things to really make it look like we weren't doing anything differently on screen. We really didn't want it to look like it took place in a pandemic.
But what were the actual safety precautions?
Yeah, so we did, oh my gosh, we did so many different things that I feel like you'd never even notice. For instance, in the scene where me and Kira or Rose and Annie are sitting at that, it's like at one of the beach locations, and Annie's sitting up on the wall and Rose is sitting on the bench. Like, it's one of the Gloucester shoots. We shot in Gloucester. That was... Wow, the wind. Oh boy. In scenes like that, we purposefully tried to separate ourselves for the most part for the scene, so we are a good distance apart from each other, but it looks relatively natural. So we did things like that. When people were not on camera, I was very adamant about everyone wearing a mask at all times when we weren't being recorded. So especially like all of our like tech, like anyone working tech, or if I wasn't on camera that day, anyone who was not on camera was wearing a mask. Even when we ate, we would kind of sit like socially distanced from each other, but we would all kind of sit like together, but just a little bit farther apart. I repeatedly had us get pizzas because that was like supposed to be like, at the time, that was like the one safe, like notedly safe thing that you could eat.
Because it was so hot, baked
it was like in the oven,
yeah.
so it was supposed to be like the safest thing that you could like order out or something. So we would constantly all like split the pizza costs and stuff. We did like as many things as we possibly could at all times, which was another thing. That was one of the million things going through my head all the time, is like, okay, how do we do this, and how do we do this in the hopes of no one gets COVID and spreads it to everybody else.
Having all of that being said,
yeah.
How did it feel when you finally finished the movie?
So this one I think people might be surprised about. I felt stressed. I expected every bit of stress to just melt away, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna be free. That is not what happened actually at first. Like now, yes. But I mean, in regards to the film, there's other stressors now called getting a job. Like a paid job, not a free job. Anyway, it was very stressful because I officially finished editing, I think the day, I have it written down somewhere, but I think it was either the day of the premiere or the day before. And then it was a matter of, oh my gosh, I hope everything like exports properly and uploads in time, and I hope everything works out. And it was a lot of I hope, because I had already had the advertisements out. The premiere is going to be at 8 on the 12th. It ended up coming out like 5 minutes, 10 minutes after 8, because it was a matter, it was still uploading. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful.
I was stressed out for you. I remember that part. We were all thinking, oh, this is so hyped with like there's a lot of people waiting for this, and it's just not gonna happen.
I was so afraid that people would be like, oh well, it's not out, I'm not gonna watch it, and just leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But so it was stressful all the way through the premiere, including the fact that I didn't know what anyone's reaction to it was gonna be. What matters in the end is that I'm proud of it, and all of the people that worked on it I think are very proud of it, and we're all very happy with how it came out. It's not perfect, but it's like, you know, it's, I would like to say, our first film, like everyone who worked on it, and I am very proud of what everyone was able to do. But it was very stressful because I didn't know what anyone was gonna think. I didn't know if it was gonna be out on time. I remember when it was finally finished and done, and the premiere had come and gone and everything, all of the messaging people was actually really stressful. And like, I felt very like I wanted to be a hermit, and I wanted to kind of just like hide, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to do anything. It was really weird, and it was a very, very weird experience. Finally, after I think it was like a couple weeks or something, I started to feel like, you know, it just started to feel a lot better. But yeah, just, it was very stressful for a long time, even after the fact.
So the last question.
Yes.
For the last question, would you do something like this again?
Oh, heck yes. Oh my gosh. It's a matter, for me, like, I am ready to go, I'm ready to do this, but I'm gonna take my time this time. And I'm going to be able to enjoy every step of the way, because with Caprice, like, it was very lonely a lot of the time, because the writing process itself was very, very lonely. I would be up in my room, like, you know that. I would be up in my room for hours and hours and hours alone by myself because I had a deadline and I needed to be able to meet my deadlines, so I would sit in there for hours and hours and hours by myself, not seeing anybody, not doing anything, not going anywhere. That was the same with the editing process, only worse. The editing process took, I think, double the amount of time it took to write, and it was the most lonely, sad part of everything. So I will absolutely do this again, guaranteed, sooner than later, I really hope. I already actually have half of a new feature film script written, and like, I'm very happy with it. The first half is basically done, as the lawnmower comes in. But the first half is basically done. And you know this very well because someone will be in the next one. He will be acting with me in a bigger role than 2 lines. He's actually going to be a lead in the cast next time. So the only teaser that I will give about that is that it's supposed to be a very... No teasers. No teasers. I'm not giving anything away. No.
Not one thing?
Not one thing. Well... let's say it's a slasher of sorts, but not the kind of slasher you're used to and not the kind you might expect. Yeah, that's... yeah.
I would say that,
So,
yeah.
And you can always expect the same very deep emotional stories going on at the same time. I will say this time I get to play a loud and expressive character. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, I will do it again, but I will take my time and I will enjoy every step of the way instead of being sad and lonely and stressed.
Well, that concludes our program, folks.
That concludes our program. The very long program that is going to take a lot of editing. Do not miss Caprice's first live in-person world premiere at the Salem Horrorfest Film Festival, October 11th. We have undisclosed reasons that we may or may not be able to go, but
you guys have no excuse. You better be there.
Yeah, you have no excuse. You have to be there. You don't have undisclosed reasons. Please, I would love, you guys to be able to see it in person. I would love to be able to see it in person, but I do plan to make some kind of more content to be putting out in the near future. A bunch of different things I'd like to explore. Fashion videos, makeup videos, just as like little fun things in the meantime. I can't always be making big elaborate things, okay? We were thinking about ghost hunting?
Yeah.
Ghost hunting? Maybe?
If
Yes?
you weren't gonna mention it, I was gonna mention it.
Yeah, we were thinking about ghost hunting at different supposedly haunted locations. By that I mean we explore the location and I will do thorough research on like the history of it and what's supposed to be going on haunting wise. It'll just, for more than anything else, for entertainment and fun. And to go to really spooky places. I will be having my bro here with me. We call each other twins. Can you tell? Can you tell? Yeah, no. Don't analyze it too much. We call each other twins. I wonder if anyone would actually know how many years apart we are. We look around the same. Your friends all agree with the same age.
Bet you guys can't guess how many years apart we are.
How many years apart do you think that we are? Leave it in the comment section that I won't open.
Comments will be closed to specify.
Yeah, no. Like, literally, if you want to send any questions or video requests, and I'm open to doing avant-garde, like, creepy horror videos and stuff, too, and I could, like, mix that with other kinds of videos. If you have anything that you would like to see me try to do, just send it to my dad. Just, everything filters through my dad. Just be nice. Alright. This is the end.
Alright.
Okay. Alright. Well, what ending should we do?
See you later.
This is the end. See you later. Goodbye. Turn off your phones. Go outside.
It's over, guys.
It's over. Go outside for once. Get off your phone. Why are you watching this? Good night.
Alright, bye guys.